Hi, I'm John Marie, and welcome to the Thriving Podcast. I'm your host and intuitive coach, dedicated to amplifying your intuition, transforming your mind, and igniting your inner magic to create a life you're obsessed with. 2 years ago, I was burnt out as fuck in a toxic relationship and a successful tech career that I just wasn't happy in anymore. I left it all behind with no plan, and now I'm running my own business, immersed in purpose and passion, happily married to my soulmate, and living out my dreams every single day. And if you're badass enough to be listening to this podcast, then you're already on the fast track to doing the same, babe. On this podcast, we'll dive into all things life, business, heart, mind, body, and soul, empowering you to up-level your life and embody your happiest, healthiest, and hottest self. It's time to make idealistic your new realistic, because you're not just here to survive, you're here to thrive. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the podcast. Happy Thriving Thursday. Today, we are talking about a topic that is near and dear to my perfectionist heart, to my self-development obsessed heart. So I know a lot of you will relate to it. It comes up with a lot of my clients. It comes up with a lot of my friends. For a lot of us, when we get into this self-development space, we can kind of sometimes become a little obsessed with it. If we're already a high achiever, if we're already a perfectionist, right? If we have trauma, if we have, self-worth wounds, right? Then it's very easy when you learn about healing to kind of get obsessed with healing and the concept of healing and improving yourself. But what I want to talk about today is the fine line between healing and fixing. When we start to shift from a healing mindset to a fixing mindset. So the reason why I titled this podcast episode, Stop Trying to Heal, is because healing is not something you need to try to do. Healing is not something you force. Healing is not something you need to make happen. Healing is something that your body wants to do naturally. Think about when you get a cut, right? You don't do anything to try to heal the cut. The cut just heals on its own. And your role is to help to create the circumstances that allow that cut to heal the most optimally, right? So, maybe you use a tincture or some kind of ointment or disinfectant or something, right? To help prevent infection, or like you put a Band-Aid on or gauze or something to help stop the loss of blood or whatever it is. You don't just leave an open wound completely exposed, and you don't go rub the open wound in dirt or something like that, but you create a space that is optimal for healing to occur, for the healing that is already trying to occur all the time. Like as soon as you get that cut, your body goes into healing mode, right? Like your body starts to do the things that it's naturally designed to do to help that cut heal. So the message of this podcast episode that we're going to be talking about is stop trying to heal, start allowing healing to occur. Become a safe place for healing to occur. That is really what this process is. It's not about you needing to force the healing or force anything. Nothing should ever be about force. This is like, again, manifestation 101, masculine, feminine energy dynamics. Like if anything feels forced, it's not aligned. Like literally by definition, right? Alignment. It's just like it's so simple and basic sometimes. Alignment means like aligned, like it's the opposite of force. I can't even it's just the definition of the words, you know what I mean? And when we're so focused on trying to heal, that implies that we are broken. There is something we need to fix. When we're in that mindset of there is something wrong with me and that I need to fix it, that is automatically disconnecting us from our truth. Automatically, we are less embodied in our truth. We are at a lower frequency because guess what? If we're believing that there are things that need to be fixed within us, if we're believing we are not already whole and complete, if we're looking at any part of ourselves as wrong or broken, that's shame. That's judging ourselves. That's literally looking at ourselves as we are not whole and complete, which is your truth. That is not a mindset that is aligned with unconditional love. Plain and simple. And this is a really, really sneaky mindset. It's actually really difficult to fully embrace all aspects of yourself, including your shadow, and to recognize your shadow as not bad. I feel like a lot of the time we kind of look at it as there's like the highest version of me, there's my highest self, right? There's like the ideal version of me, the light. And then there's my shadow self, right? That I need to fix. I need to do shadow work so that I can heal the shadow and transmute all of the shadow in the dark into light. It doesn't work that way. What the shadow needs is to actually be accepted and to be loved. I recently started reading the book Existential Kink, and she actually articulates this concept so beautifully. Highly recommend the book. I'm only like 15 pages in, but it's really good so far. But this is a concept that I personally have struggled with for a very long time. And I know that a lot of other people do as well. I mean, for me personally, it's been very extreme to where I used to just literally completely reject negative emotions. Keep it away. Like anything that might make me sad, I don't want it in my sphere. I am not open to sadness. I don't want to feel it. I literally shut my heart. I shut it down. I shut it out. I closed it out for the longest time. And it was a big wake up moment for me when I realized that sadness is not bad. Like there are no negative emotions. And this is not a new concept. I've talked about this concept on the podcast before, but I feel like even though a lot of us have this awareness now that we should welcome all emotions, right? The sadness, the anger, there are no bad emotions. I feel like we're just not still fully embodying it, right? Because we are still in a way looking at them as bad. And like truly, I feel like the mindset a lot of us get into then is, okay, I need to learn how to accept this bad emotion. I need to like find love for the bad thing. But it's actually just completely shifting your perception and recognizing that emotion as a good thing. Enjoying sadness, enjoying being angry, enjoying every aspect of your human experience and not making any of it good or bad, right? Just letting it be what it is. I know this can feel a little esoteric to talk about. I want to give a couple examples. I was talking to a client the other day, and we've been working a lot on her accepting her emotions, allowing herself to feel emotions, not running away from negative emotions. And the other day, she sent me a message and she was like, I've been really in a really bad mood, and it was really stressing her out. But she was like, I'm just going to give my body what I need. I'm just going to sit with it and feel my feelings, which is great. It was a great approach, right? Rather than like not doing that, right? I was very proud of her for that. And at the same time, I told her, this is amazing. And I want to invite the perspective of what if the bad mood wasn't even a bad thing, right? The quote unquote bad mood. What if we just let the bad mood be there? What if we didn't pedestal the bad mood? What if we didn't make it something that needs to go away? What if it was just like, okay, I'm not in a good mood today. Good mood. I'm not in a joyful mood today, we'll say, and I'm just going to still go about my life. How do I want to exist in this mood? The quickest shortcut to acceptance, really, is to ask yourself, okay, what if this was never going to change? What if it was going to be this way forever? What would I do? How would I move forward with my life? And then do that, right? Like, how could I find a way to exist with this being how it is? And get out of the mindset of, I need to change from this state to this state, and I need to try to force the state that I'm in. Like, what would it look like to just allow myself to be in any emotional state that I'm in? Because that is what truly feeling your feelings is. Sitting with your emotions and feelings intentionally is very powerful. Because a lot of the time, it's difficult to access this mindset and this space and create this internal environment that I'm describing, like naturally, like without kind of some intention, especially when doing that and feeling your feelings, etc., is kind of foreign to you. But ultimately, that's the place that we want to get to. And you just want to be careful, because when you are very self-development focused and when you learn about all these healing modalities, you learn all the tools, you have to be careful of not letting it become a thing of like, oh, I feel anxiety, gotta use my tool to fix the anxiety, to cure the anxiety, to get rid of the anxiety, right? Because it's still coming from a place of I'm trying to feel my feelings so that they change or go away. I'm trying to use this tool so that the bad emotion turns into a good emotion. That's not coming from a place of true acceptance for the emotion. And it's not that the tools don't work with anything. It's not about the actions. It's about the intention behind them. And so just being conscious of not immediately going to the tools all the time, because literally the tool, like the word tool, definition of tool is like used to fix something. So just being conscious of the mindset you're in and when you're reaching for the tools and why you're reaching for them. I want to share an experience I had one time. I'm not sure if I've ever shared this before. I don't feel like I have. One time I was in a session with my embodiment coach and we were like doing a somatic. We were doing a basically just like embodiment somatic practice and we were like deep into it. And I noticed some sadness come up. And because I was so deep in the practice, I was so present in my body, I just automatically felt like I wanted to bring my arms to myself and hug myself. And as soon as I did that, I just started circling my body, right? This is what happens when you're so present in your body. Again, this is my whole point of the episode. I'm actually circling, so I hope I'm like moving my voice away from the mic. The whole point of this episode is to explain that the power of creating the space that allows your body to heal the way it already knows how to heal. Right? I mean, that is the work that I do with clients. The whole somatic facilitation that I do with clients, like the foundation of that work is basically creating a safe space for healing to occur. All I'm doing is guiding clients to help them allow their body to do what it wants to do naturally, right? It's our head, our thinking, our mind that gets in the way of that, right? So that's literally why I'm so freaking obsessed, you guys, with saying get out of your head, get into your body, spend more time in your body, be more present in your body, because that is all you need to do. Create that inner safety in your body, that connection within your body. Be able to be so present in your body that your body can lead the way and you are able to surrender enough to let your body lead the way. But back to explaining this story, I just started circling. I felt the sadness, right? I hugged myself. I started circling. I felt that I wanted to just keep circling bigger and bigger. And I was like circling my body. And then I circled like to the fullest extension that I could circle my body around. And as soon as I did that, I automatically felt the desire to open up my arms, stop hugging myself. And then I was like, hey, the sadness is gone. And then I started to feel like happy and free and open and light and joyful and spacious. And it was such a cool moment for me because I was like, oh my God, that is what it's supposed to be like all the time. No supposed, right? But that is what it can be like. That's how we're designed to be. That's how it's designed to work. Literally, our body is so capable. I heard this once. I don't remember where I heard it. But an emotion, I'm going to look it up really quick. Okay, this is just from a quick Google. It's called the 90-second rule. And basically the idea is that when you have an emotional reaction to something, the chemical process lasts about 90 seconds. After that 90-second chemical reaction, any remaining emotion is due to your thoughts. Apparently, this term, the 90-second rule, was coined by Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor in her book, My Stroke of Insight. Oh my God, wait, I think I have that book. I'll have to look at my bookshelf. I have so many books that I have not yet read. But I am actually reading like 7 books. Is anyone else like this? I don't read like one book at a time. I read like a bit from this book and a bit from that book and a bit from that book. And it always ends up being exactly what I need to hear at the time that I read it. So anyway, I want to get back to talking about that book, Existential Kink. But anyway, I'm all over the place. I'm in the middle of like 3 stories right now. The idea behind that is like literally that was what I experienced. The emotion comes in, the chemical reaction happens, right? The sensation happens in your body. And the problem is that we just aren't living in a state day to day anymore where when that comes in, we're able to be in our body enough in that moment to allow our body to do its thing and allow that energy to just flow through. We get stuck in it. We get stuck in our head. We get stuck in our thoughts and we continue to perpetuate it. So that was such a cool moment for me because I was like, oh my God. That was so easy. That was so easy to feel the sadness. It just happened so naturally. And it was so magical to really be so present in that experience, to witness how it just transmuted instantly into joy, truly. And so again, I share that story to illustrate the power of becoming a safe place for healing to occur, which is really cultivating that safety within your body. And remembering that you don't have to force anything. You don't have to tell your body what to do. You have to be able to get out of the way enough that your body can do what it needs to do. It's also like when you get sick, right? You don't have to tell your body, okay, do this, activate this part of the immune system, blah, 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 right? You just have to rest and hydrate, right? You just have to, drink fluids. You have to just rest so that your body can use all of its energy for healing you. So if you put that into the context of like day-to-day life, when you're living in chronic stress, if you're not making time and space for yourself to rest, or you're living in a chronic fight or flight and you're not prioritizing nervous system regulation and feeling safe in your body, then your body can't heal the way that it wants to and is always trying to. And again, facilitation is amazing. The tools are amazing. But again, it's about the mindset and shifting this mindset and remembering that you are whole and complete as you are. You don't have to fix or change anything about yourself. I was talking to my client the other day and I said a quote. We were talking about this and she was like, oh, I love that. And I was like, low key, me too. I just made it up on the spot. It just came to me and I want to find it because it was really good. Okay, I said, healing is a choice to grow and expand, not a requirement to be whole. And I love that. Healing is a choice to grow and expand. Healing is a choice of saying, I deserve this. And I desire to grow and expand, to become a more expanded version of myself, to continue growing. That's what we're doing here on earth, right? To not stay stagnant and fixed. And I am whole and complete already as I am. I don't need to change anything about myself. I'm changing because I desire to change. It's coming again from a place of love. Holding myself higher from a place of love of where I'm at as well. And that's kind of coming back to what I was saying about the book, about loving your shadow. Because again, I feel like conceptually, this may be a little difficult to grasp, or you may grasp it conceptually, but it's a whole other thing to actually put it into practice. So an example she uses in the book, which is a very common example, right? And one that I think a lot of us are familiar with is, toxic relationships. If you're in a toxic relationship, it's because there is a part of you, a part of your shadow self that enjoys being in that toxic relationship. They get pleasure from that dynamic in a weird, twisted way, right? And honestly, this is another thing with the self-development. It truly doesn't matter why. You don't actually have to figure out why it gets pleasure from that, why it wants that. And that's another trap that I've fallen into a lot. And I see a lot of clients fall into as well, is getting into that analysis. It can be especially tricky. Like for me, I'm obsessed with figuring out why of everything. I love getting to the root of problems and things. And it's not that that isn't helpful, right? That can be very helpful because it can help uncover things in our subconscious. And a lot of the time, bringing awareness to things is enough to shift things energetically. But it's like with everything, right? It's just there's a time and a place. And that is actually why it's so easy to get caught in the analysis, because it is a good thing to do. It's not actually bad to try and get to the root of your problems. But again, then because it's like, well, this is a good thing, I'm healing, I'm solving, I'm getting to the root, we can get caught in it and we actually can start to pedestal the thing that we need to heal from. I've talked about before how we can pedestal limiting beliefs and they can kind of just become a story. And we actually can start to use that as a distraction and a way to avoid actually healing. Thinking is not feeling. Thinking is not feeling. Thinking is not healing because feeling is healing. I remember specifically one time I was talking to one of my best friends a long time ago. I was having a dilemma about this guy and I was like, oh, I shouldn't be talking to this guy, or I don't know why I can't stop talking to him, blah, 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 and trying to figure it out. And I remember she said to me at one point, she was like, I don't know, I think maybe you just need to stop trying to figure out why you're still talking to him and just stop talking to him. And I was like, fuck you. Why are you so right with that? I hate that answer because we use that as a way to avoid doing the thing we need to do, right? We use it as a way to avoid just feeling the emotion that we know we need to feel, right? We avoid that. We use that to avoid facing a truth. We stay in confusion as a strategy because we know what the clarity means we have to do something that we don't want to do. We have to do something that feels uncomfortable. And so the confusion is a strategy. The analysis is a strategy. The staying attached to a story of, I'm working on healing this, I need to heal this. Every time you say that, you're giving yourself permission to stay in the behavior because, oh, I can't change this behavior until this thing is healed. Well, newsflash, unfortunately, not so unfortunately, we have free will. And you actually do have the power to choose differently. Your power of choice is your power in this life. So you actually could choose, as soon as you become consciously aware of a story or of something you need to heal from, of a wound, of a trigger, of something that was in your subconscious driving your behavior that is now conscious, you have the power to change it and choose it. Another example, I was talking to a client the other day and we were talking about her fear of showing up online and showing up authentically. And, she was like, yeah, I'm afraid of what people are going to think. And I was like, yeah, what do you feel like is the block? And she was like, well, I know it goes back to I have this trauma from high school. These girls would bully me and da 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 da. And we ended up illuminating that the stuff that happened in high school, of course, that affected her, but that had become a story that she had attached to use as an excuse, not consciously. That was her subconscious strategy to prevent her from moving forward because of a fear of success. Because now the story was, well, I can't show up authentically online until I heal from this childhood trauma. So as long as I'm unhealed, I guess I just can't move forward and I can't show up the way that I want to. Really smart strategy from the brain to prevent her from moving forward and becoming successful and having change, because that's what the brain doesn't want. And of course, again, there was healing. I'm sure there's a lot of healing work that we can do to help her body heal from that trauma, but it wasn't being actively triggered at that time. She could just go choose to show up and make a post because she was aware that that was happening. So when it comes to the analysis, I know I just kind of said, you don't actually have to know why. And also it's not bad to know why and have the awareness. What I really mean is it's good to do the analysis and to get to the root cause of a problem, because when you are illuminating the problem, to get to the root cause is to bring awareness to something you didn't have awareness of before. But once you have the awareness, then you don't need to do analysis anymore, right? So it's kind of once I acknowledge, oh, I'm afraid to show up authentically, that's why I'm not posting, right? Because I'm afraid to be seen. That's enough. Now I have the awareness. Now I can just choose to show up, right? And when I feel the resistance, then I can address it when it comes up and is actively being triggered. But I don't have to then go into a whole analysis of, okay, well, why am I afraid of being seen? Or how did this happen? Or I have to dive into this whole thing, right? Does that make sense? With my example of my friend saying that to me, I was feeling some type of way. I don't remember the situation, but I was obviously feeling distressed about whatever was going on with this guy. And I needed to analyze the situation to a certain extent to become aware that I didn't want to be talking to that guy anymore. That the issue was that I was talking to him and I didn't want to be, right? Once I had that awareness, then I didn't need to be analyzing, well, why am I still talking to him though? That was a secret strategy of my brain so that I could keep talking to him, because as long as I didn't know why I was still talking to him, that I could keep talking to him. Does that make sense? That's kind of where the line is of when the analysis is helpful and then when it's unnecessary and becomes a distraction and a mechanism of avoidance. It's kind of the same thing as when I described thinking versus overthinking, kind of the same thing. So a new approach to healing that I want to invite you into is not getting so caught up in what are the things that you're needing to work on right now, looking for the wound every day and being oh, I need to work on this, I need to work on this, or not getting so caught up in what you're working on that you just talk about that I'm working on it. And just saying that I'm working on it and having the awareness that you're working on it is enough that you aren't actually working on it. It's oh, I'm working on it. As long as we're in progress, then we don't have to do the thing that we would have to do once the thing is healed. So not getting so caught up in trying to actively heal the thing and force the healing, and just, again, becoming a safe space for the healing to occur. So when it is actively triggered, then you can allow the healing to happen. Then you can allow the emotion to be felt. You can allow the process to unfold. You can be with it. you're able to be fully present with your experience. And one thing I want to say is I feel like I can hear somebody saying, worrying that if you take that approach, then like you're going to be stagnant and you're not going to be growing or progressing as fast as you could be. For example, if you're in your business and you're trying to make money, and I'm saying stop working on your money mindset and just start taking the actions you need to take to make money, then I understand how you might be confused. But if my money mindset is bad, then the actions I'm taking don't matter. But what I want to say to that is, first of all, your money mindset isn't bad. Nothing is bad. Your money mindset just is what it is. There's nothing broken or wrong with you. And I know that feels like so wrong to even, like, it feels so wrong, but that truly is that's the work. Like, that's what this whole episode is about. Almost like letting yourself be bad, right? It feels like objectively like a scarcity mindset is bad or wrong, but that's exactly what's keeping you stuck in the scarcity. I know it almost feels inherently contradictory because it's the whole reason I'm telling you this is I'm like stuck in scarcity. Like, you want to be out of scarcity. It's like a whole mind fuck. Life is a contradiction, you guys. Again, we don't need to get into the analysis past a certain point. Honestly, life is like a need to know basis. It's kind of what we're working with. But it truly is. It's like, it's not a good or bad. It's just desire. That's really what it is. You desire abundance. And so that's just what you desire. It's nothing good or bad. It's just you consciously desire abundance. It's because that is your truth. That's the nature, like the true nature of your being. So you desire to be aligned with truth, right? We've talked about this before. So it's not that the other part of you that's desiring the other thing is bad. It's just not aligned to your truth. I hope that makes sense. But the main thing I wanted to say on this is if you are taking the quote unquote right actions, meaning you're taking actions that are led from intuition and you are stretching yourself towards this goal, you will be triggered with the thing that you need to work on. It will come up. For example, if you're taking the actions that you need to take to make money, that's probably going to involve, for example, inviting people into your offer. You're likely to experience a trigger there in some way. And when that happens, you now know how to handle it. And you're also present enough in your body to notice when those triggers occur and to be able to experience them fully. Awareness is a really, really huge part of this because it doesn't even necessarily have to be with the actions in your business, right? Because the thing is, if you set an intention to the universe of something you want to manifest, the universe will immediately start delivering whatever experiences and triggers you need to be able to deliver the lessons to create the circumstance for you to be able to have that thing. It's kind of exactly like I'm saying about how you create the circumstance to allow your body to do its thing. The universe creates a circumstance to allow you to manifest the thing you want. So like if you set an intention in the universe that you want to manifest $1 million, the universe will start delivering experiences to you to highlight whatever needs to be illuminated and let go of or transmuted or healed or whatever it is in order for you to expand your capacity and align to the frequency of manifesting that $1 million. So that could even be you hear someone make a comment about money or say something is really expensive, or you see a price tag on something and you feel that's expensive and you notice that you feel triggered with that. Okay, so that awareness is a huge, huge part of this. It's awareness and presence. That is how you create an optimal environment for healing to occur. Okay, so like to go back to this money mindset thing, if you are taking action in your business to try to make money and you're not getting triggered at all in relation to your money wounds and your money mindset, then that probably just means that your action is not stretchy enough. It's not expansive enough. You're not actually coming up against the edge of anything. What I'm really trying to get at here is not being so focused on the problems, being focused on the vision. And when you are so focused on the vision, then the quote unquote problems, the things that are blocking you from embodying and fully stepping into that vision, that timeline, aligning to that frequency, they will come up. They will illuminate. Because if you are walking as far as you can down the path towards that vision, moving as much as you can towards that vision, then you will just come up against whatever walls are there that are preventing you from moving forward. Moving towards the vision is the quickest, easiest way to illuminate the blocks. You don't have to go looking for them. And then just when they come up, allow the healing to occur. But we don't have to force anything. We don't have to go looking. Even if you bring awareness to something in a session, you're like, oh my God, I just like figured out that I have this wound, right? Like Cool, good to know. Now I have the awareness. Next time it comes up, like that doesn't mean that you have to go diving so deep into fixing that wound. And again, be really conscious of when you bring awareness to new things like that, of not letting it just become another story that now is holding us back. So again, not focusing on the problem, focusing on the vision and always moving towards the vision. I was telling my girls in Be Seen Sales Queen today, the more time you spend with the vision, the closer that vision gets to becoming a reality. The more time you spend with the vision, you actually don't have to spend time with the problems. Okay, I keep doing air quotes. You can in your personal practice every day, like you can dive into your wounds and your shadow, but you're honestly going to be moving towards your vision and your goals a lot more slowly by taking that approach rather than diving into the vision and the goals and what I'm moving towards, and then allowing that to illuminate the blocks and the parts of your shadow that want to be looked at. Oh my God, I don't think I ever finished talking about what I wanted reference from the book, Existential Kink. I think I got halfway through it. Oh, because I was talking about the part of you that loves being in toxic relationships, and it's not, because I started talking about figuring out why the part of you loves being in toxic relationship, right? And I was like, you don't actually have to figure out why, right? You just have to recognize that it does and then choose differently. The other point that I wanted to make on that topic is it's basically the idea of acknowledging that we all have that part of us. None of us are perfect. None of us are all love, light, and compassion all the time. It's like that Freudian stuff, right? We have that side of ourselves. All humans judge other people, right? All humans feel hateful to other people sometimes. They do. You can't help it. It comes from something. There's a difference between feeling judgment or hate towards someone and acting on it, or genuinely being hateful in your heart. If we just judge and shame the part of us that's judging and shaming, then we can never transmute that energy. That doesn't get us anywhere. The truth will set you free. Always. And so when you can accept, okay, there's this part of me that has to exist, because if there was no shadow, there could be no light. There's this part of me, and I'm just acknowledging that that's a part of me. And it's okay that it's here. It's not bad. It's just there. It just is. And now that I'm aware of it and I've accepted it, it doesn't have power over me anymore. That really is the magic. That's what's happening here. Because as long as you are shaming that part of you that wants to be in the toxic relationship, that part of you that's rejecting money, that part of you that doesn't want to lose weight, whatever it is, as long as you are making that part bad, it has power over you and it will continue to control the situation. But as soon as you say, okay, cool, you don't want money. I love that. Awesome. Let's not make money. Let's stay poor. It doesn't have any power over you because the power was that it was stopping you from having what you want. But if you can acknowledge that that is actually also what you want in a way, then it's not stopping you from anything. You're just at the same level. You're clearing the resistance, essentially. It's kind of like that reverse psychology thing of think back to when you were a kid and you're arguing with your sibling over, just pick something simple, which seat to sit at the table. And you both really want the same seat and you're arguing over it. And then if you, instead of being no, I want the seat. No, I want the seat. If you were whatever, I actually don't want that seat. You want that seat? I don't want that seat. I want this seat. Once you accept, then what happens most of the time, then your sibling, they don't really care about having the seat either. They stop caring once you stop caring. Once you accept the situation, then they're wait, why did I think that seat was so special? I don't care. I don't want that seat either. Why do you want that seat? No, I kind of want that seat. That kind of thing. If you think about the shadow part of you that wants to stay broke is the sibling in this situation, and making more money is the seat you're arguing over. And so you're I want to make more money. And your shadow self is no, I want to stay broke, right? And then you're okay, fine. I want to stay broke too, actually. That's you saying, I'm going to go sit over here. I'm totally cool with this. You can have the chair. You can stay broke. I'm good with it. Then they're kind of they're not getting anything out of it anymore, and they stop caring, right? And that's when the energy transmutes. That's when the resistance dissolves. It's just another form of acceptance, right? Or I always say with manifestation, there's a part of you that really, really, really wants the goal and wants to move forward. And there's a part of you that really, really, really wants to stay where you are and doesn't want anything to change. And the key is to get the part of you that really, really wants to move forward to be okay with staying where you are and to get the part of you that really, really, really wants to stay with you are to be okay with moving forward. It's kind of like that, but this is in the context of your relationship with your shadow and your subconscious. So we went a lot of different ways in this episode, but the main thing I want you to take away is to remember that you are not something that needs to be fixed. You are not broken. There's no healing that you need to force or make happen. You don't need to go out of your way to make healing happen. You just have to stay connected to your vision, keep moving towards your vision, and allow the healing to happen when it wants to, when it's triggered. Focus on developing your mind-body connection, creating safety within your body, becoming a safe place, an optimal place for healing to occur, and allowing everything to unfold the way that it's meant to, allowing all of the emotions and allowing your body to do what it's designed to do. It's honestly so liberating to get out of that perfectionist mindset and to stop looking at yourself like you're broken and you need to change anything about yourself, because you don't need to change anything about yourself. And as soon as you accept that truth and acknowledge that and believe that and adopt that, that's how you change yourself. That's how you change minds. That's how you change anything. You can never force change, but you can create the optimal circumstances that allow change to happen. Stop trying to heal and just start allowing healing. How liberating is that? You don't have to try to heal anymore. You don't have to worry about fixing anything within yourself. You can just be. It is so freeing when you truly let that sink in. I feel like I want to end this episode with a couple actionable takeaways because I feel like this is like a big concept to comprehend. The number one thing I would say is, if you're not already, get so clear on your vision, on your goals, on what you're wanting to manifest, on what you're wanting to step into, and just start moving towards it. Focus on where we're going, not where we are or where we came from. And then when you come up against a roadblock to try to get where you're going that is related to where you're coming from, look at it, honor it, experience it, feel it, use your tools. That's when you use your tools. Now there's a wall in front of me. I'm going to get out the pickaxe and start chipping. But it's like in the other context, if you're so focused on trying to heal that it's actually keeping you stuck, or you're in that mindset of I need to fix something, of I'm broken and I need to be fixed, it's kind of like there's maybe a wall all the way down the path, but you're just here with the pickaxe, hitting at the air, right? I don't know if that metaphor totally tracks, but you get what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's really all you have to do. And honestly, it's I want to give you actionables, but at the same time, I'm actually, the whole message of this is you can just be, you can just let yourself exist. The only other thing I would say is, work on creating that space and safety in your body. How can you do that? What can you do to create a more optimal space for healing and a more optimal environment for healing? Because, that's the only thing. I think there's a quote that's you can't heal in the same environment that harmed you or something like that. And that's kind of what I was saying about if you get a cut, you don't go rub it in dirt. If you're walking on a spiky floor and the spikes are piercing your skin and you don't leave the room to walk on a smooth floor, your skin's not going to be able to heal because it's constantly getting re-poked with spikes. So weird metaphor. Your body will not be able to heal if you don't create the conditions for it to heal. If you don't start setting boundaries and creating space in your schedule, or making time to relax, or nourishing your body the way it needs to be nourished, etc., then you're still walking on the spikes. Truly, if you just prioritize creating that space, creating the optimal conditions for your body to heal, I swear it's so frustrating to hear because you want to be doing more. You want to feel in control of the process. But if you just do that, your body will automatically start to heal. I promise. Things will start to come up. It will start to happen truly. Just naturally. It literally will naturally unfold. We just always want to make it harder than it has to be. On the journey to creating those optimal conditions, everything will come up that you need to look at. All the things will be triggered that you need to look at, all the emotions that you need to feel. And when you do start to actually cultivate that safety, your body will literally just start bringing things to the surface on its own. It will start changing, it will start healing. It is such a magical home that we are in here on earth. It's designed for this. Let it be easy. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I would love to know what you thought of this episode. I'd love to know your takeaways. If you have any questions, I would love to hear. So send me a message on Instagram and I would love to chat and have a conversation about this. If you are looking for deeper support in your healing process and your healing journey in creating this space, becoming a safe place for healing to occur, in learning how to allow and make this shift, or if you're curious about somatic healing specifically, then you can also reach out on Instagram to learn more about ways you can work with me or schedule a session. If you know anyone that you feel like this episode of This Perspective would be helpful for, then please go ahead and send it their way. Spread the healing, spread the love. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are. And don't forget to stop, take a deep breath, smile, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.